Hello, and welcome back to the Squiddish Podcast. My name is Mel. This is Season 2, Episode 2, and today we're going to be talking all about the mimic octopus. The mimic octopus was discovered in 1998 in Sulawesi, which is an island off the coast of Indonesia. And the mimic octopus is uniquely adapted to its environment, like most animals, of course. DNA suggests that the octopus developed in the usual way that we've seen with other octopus, but at some point down the evolutionary line, progressed towards its interesting swimming pattern. It swims similarly to flatfish. Like other octopus, the mimic octopus or Thamoctopus mimicus uses chromatophores to blend into its surroundings. But it takes this adaptation one step further and physically impersonates a number of poisonous or stinging creatures of the deep. So instead of blending into the surroundings, its active goal is to stand out and to look as extremely poisonous and dangerous as possible. To quote marinebio.org, this animal is so intelligent that it's able to discern which dangerous sea creature to impersonate that will present the greatest threat to its current possible predator. For example, scientists observed that when the octopus was attacked by territorial damselfishes, it mimicked the banded sea snake, a known predator of damselfishes. End quote. So, unlike most octopus that live in coral reefs or places with many hiding spots, the mimic octopus takes up residency in sandy or muddy waters with few places to hide. So, this is why experts believe the mimic octopus has taken to impersonating up to 15 observed predators. On top of impressive skills in mimicry, the female octopus also does something a bit unusual with her egg-laying habits. So after mating and laying her eggs, she will string them to her body and continue to go about business as usual, hunting prey and swimming around. So unlike other octopus, she isn't starving to death, but she will still die shortly after the eggs hatch. And that's because all octopus are semmelporous, meaning they reproduce only once before they die. What happens in the octopus body to trigger this response? Well, mating signals in the optic gland within the octopus stop producing the usual chemicals that are necessary to function. Gastrointestinal hemorrhage occurs as well, and the mimic octopus and other octopus aren't the only invertebrates that experience this. Other invertebrates such as insects, butterflies, squid are also semmelporous. There are even a few opossum species and fish species that experience semmelporism, but it's almost entirely owned by invertebrates. It's really a bet on life, so semmelporous animals produce significantly more offspring that require little to no parental involvement. Meanwhile, mammals and vertebrates do the exact opposite, and they require often years of parental involvement. Like all octopus, mimic octopus males are always at risk of sexual cannibalization from the female. During mating, sometimes the female octopus will basically suffocate the male. And how do they do this when they don't have necks? Well, they actually cut off the gills so that the gills can't get any water. And of course, that's their source of oxygen. So why exactly do female octopus cannibalize male octopus? Well, there are three generally accepted theories. The first is the mistaken identity theory, and this is pretty self-explanatory. This just states that the female mistakes the male for prey, which is sort of unlikely in my eyes, especially if they've already mated with them, but it's a theory. The second is the aggressive spillover hypothesis, which is also pretty self-explanatory in my eyes. It just states that female octopus are in such a state after mating that they are more prone to aggression with all the hormones running through their body, and so that aggression spills over into the after contact period and they cannibalize their mate. This theory makes some sense to me, especially when we consider that octopus are semilparous and that they only mate once and then die. It's pretty well known that they do have this huge flood of totally novice hormones going through their bodies at the time. So I don't think this theory is too off the wall. The third and final hypothesis, and the most widely accepted hypothesis, is called the adaptive foraging hypothesis. And this one basically states that sexual cannibalism increases the ability of the female to produce healthier or more numerous offspring by providing extra nutrients. So, this is backed up by the fact that well-fed female octopus are less likely to cannibalize their mates. It's basically just to help with the egg laying and pregnancy process. More food equals healthier babies. Thanks for tuning in for this episode on the mimic octopus. If you have any questions regarding anything about the show, just hit me up on social media, on Facebook, The Squiddish Podcast. Find us on Spotify, Squiddish Podcast on Spotify, or you can send me an email at squiddishpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks so much. See y'all next week.